It starts quietly, not with a bang, but with a beep. It's Tuesday evening. You're at the grocery checkout. The belt is moving. You tap your card. A low buzz. Declined, the cashier says. She looks bored. You apologize. You pull out a second card. A credit line with a $20,000 limit. You tap again. Silence. Then, declined. You open your banking app. The wheel spins and spins. Finally, it loads. Your balance is there. The numbers are green, but the system isn't accepting the transfer. Behind you, the line is growing restless. Someone else tries an ATM in the corner. You hear them hit the plastic casing in frustration. Out of service. In that split second, the comfortable illusion of your life evaporates. You are holding a plastic card connected to a server that refuses to speak to you. You have wealth on a screen, but poverty in your pocket. This is the moment money dies. And if you don't own the right things when this moment arrives, you own nothing. We treat money as if it is a physical law, like gravity or oxygen. But it isn't. Money is a language. It is a communication protocol for value. And like any language, it relies on trust. When that trust breaks, the currency doesn't just lose value. It undergoes a phase shift. It becomes hot. Economists call this the velocity of money. It's a dry term for a terrifying reality. Normally, money sits still. You earn it, you save it. It rests in your account like water in a reservoir. But when the public realizes the currency is being debased, printed into oblivion to cover unpayable debts, the psychology flips. Saving becomes a punishment. Holding the currency becomes a mathematical guarantee of loss. So, the water in the reservoir breaks the dam. Everyone tries to trade their paper for anything real. This is the crack-up boom. It looks like prosperity at first. Stock markets soar. Real estate prices skyrocket. But it's not wealth generation. It's a panic exit. It's a theater full of people running for a single door. The 11th century philosopher Al-Ghazali warned us about this. He said money is a mirror. It has no color of its own. It only reflects what it can buy. When the mirror shatters, you aren't left with pieces of value. You are left with sharp, useless glass. And today, the cracks in the mirror are visible. The debt-to-GDP ratios of major economies have crossed the event horizon. The system is kept alive by a promise that tomorrow will be more productive than today. But the math says that promise is a lie. When the realization hits the masses, the shift happens overnight. The question changes from, how much does this cost, to, will you take this paper for it? Usually the answer is no. You might think this is alarmist. You might think, that can't happen here. History laughs at that sentence. It has happened everywhere. It is the default life cycle of fiat currency. Look at the Weimar Republic, 1923. One of the most educated, industrial societies on earth. A student orders a cup of coffee. The price on the menu is 5,000 marks. By the time he finishes the cup, the price is 8,000 marks. People didn't stop working, they stopped saving. They were paid twice a day. At lunch, they would sprint to the shops to buy bread, shoes, coal, anything tangible. Because if they waited until 5 p.m., their wages would be worthless. The currency wasn't money anymore, it was a melting ice cube. But let's move closer to the present. Lebanon, 2019. A banking sector that was once the envy of the Middle East. One morning, the banks just didn't open. When they finally did, withdrawals were limited. Your money was there, but you couldn't touch it. Doctors, engineers, architects, people who played by the rules, found themselves begging bank managers for $100 of their own savings. This is the critical lesson history teaches us. In a currency collapse, the danger isn't just high prices. The danger is counterparty risk. The realization that your asset is someone else's liability. When the bank fails, your deposit is just an unsecured loan to a bankrupt institution. You aren't a customer, you're a creditor. And in bankruptcy, creditors get cents on the dollar, if they are lucky. The people who survived Weimar or Zimbabwe or Venezuela weren't the ones with the most cash. They were the ones who held assets that required no permission to use. But here is the part the economics textbooks miss. They focus on the numbers. They ignore the logistics. Our modern world runs on a fragile web of credit, known as the supply chain. Retailers don't own their inventory, they lease it. Ships don't move without letters of credit. When a currency dies, the mechanism of payment freezes. The letter of credit is rejected. The ship drops anchor offshore. The trucks stop moving. And the modern city, which operates on a just-in-time delivery schedule, begins to suffocate. It takes 3 days for grocery shelves to empty. It takes 5 days for fuel stations to run dry. Suddenly, your digital net worth is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is utility. If the internet went dark tomorrow and the banking ledger was wiped clean, what value could you provide to your neighbor? This is the question you must answer before the crisis. Because during the crisis, it is too late to learn. The veneer of civilization is thin. It is maintained by the steady flow of goods and the belief in the currency. Remove the currency, and you remove the cooperation. We revert to a much older, much darker set of rules. So how do you insulate yourself? How do you build a fortress that stands when the paper world burns? You must pivot your strategy from investment to insurance. You need assets with zero counterparty risk. Asset class 1, the kings, gold and silver. This isn't about getting rich, it's about being liquid when the banks are closed. Gold is the only financial asset that is not simultaneously someone else's liability. It effectively cannot go bankrupt. Throughout 5,000 years of history, whenever an empire collapses, gold is the raft that carries wealth from one system to the next. Asset class 2, the digital bearer asset, Bitcoin. Love it or hate it, the mathematical property of a decentralized ledger serves a specific function in a collapse. It is unseizable. It has no physical borders. If you need to flee a jurisdiction, gold is heavy. A seed phrase is weightless. It is the lifeboat for the digital age, but only if you hold your own keys. Remember, not your keys, not your coins. Asset class 3, the tangible utility, land, water filtration, energy independence, things that sustain life regardless of the stock market. But the most important asset is the one you cannot buy. It is the one you must build. Asset class 4, competence. In a hyper-financialized world, we have forgotten how to do things. We pay apps to bring us food, to fix our homes, to drive our cars. When money dies, the middleman dies. The app doesn't work. The value returns to the producer. Can you grow? Can you repair? Can you build? Can you heal? If you can solve problems without spending money, you become the currency. The system we live in is not a permanent state of nature. It is a temporary anomaly. The debt cycle is tightening. The printing presses are overheating. The math is undeniable. You don't have to be a victim of the reset. You can be prepared for it. But you have to move before the music stops. I want to hear from you in the comments. Look at the economy around you. Do you think we are heading for a slow decline or a sudden reset? And are you holding anything real? If you're ready to look deeper than the official story, hit subscribe. Reality is hidden in plain sight. I'll show you where to look.